There are 5 killer whales in our pod. We have 3 females. Tuar, who is our matriarch. She is also the oldest member of our pod at 31 years old. And then the other 2 females are her daughters. Sakari, whose birthday was yesterday. She turned 13 and joined all the teenagers out there, so that was pretty fun. We had a little birthday party for her. And then her younger sister, Kamea, who is 9 years old. Now, our 2 males are Tuar and Kayuket. Kayuket is the largest member of our killer whale pod here at SeaWorld San Antonio. He weighs 9,530 pounds. If you went to our Orca encounter presentation before this, you would have seen Kayuket slide up and out of the water at some point. And if you missed that show, have no fear. We do have one later on in the day today that you can check out. But you guys are going to see a lot of amazing things here today. A common question that we get asked here at SeaWorld is, why are their dorsal fins curved over? You will notice that the 2 males, their dorsal fins are curved over, whereas our females, theirs are standing straight up. Now, a male killer whale's dorsal fin can grow to be 6 feet tall, and it can also weigh over 100 pounds. Now, the crazy part about that is there are no bones or muscles in that dorsal fin. So that dorsal fin is actually made up of a fibrous connective tissue that is very similar to your ear cartilage. And with that being said, they have no control over that dorsal fin, so they can't move it one way or the other. Now, if a young killer whale kind of has a curve in their dorsal fin, oftentimes we will see their fin will grow into that curve and over time start to curl over. Now, that's not something that happens overnight. That is something that happens over the span of their lifetime. And again, once it does kind of have that curve, it'll never straighten back up again. It does not affect their quality of life in any way. The only thing that we notice is they might have a harder time exfoliating their skin under that dorsal fin. So our 2 males, they do get loofah'd at least once a day. So they have a whole spa routine going on here, which is pretty great. We are going to start, it sounds like, with bringing some of the whales into this smaller pool located back here right next to me. This is our medical pool. A big part of the training sessions that we do here at SeaWorld are called husbandry sessions. Now what that means is we just train them behaviors that have to do with healthcare and taking care of their body and their health and well-being. So that can be a variety of different things. As the Orca encounter presentation touches on, you saw our fluke presents, which is where our veterinarians can come and take blood samples from the whales, but we can do a variety of other husbandry training sessions, including voluntary urine collections. Now, raise your hand if you knew that these killer whales are trained to pee in a cup. Who knew that? Not a lot of people knew that. We can show the female killer whales a sample cup and ask them to do a side slide out, and they will go ahead and slide out and pee in that cup. Now, just like you or I, if we were going to the doctor for an annual physical, they might collect samples from us like that, because it is just one way that we can monitor their health and make sure that they are healthy. Some of the best forms of exercise for these whales include breath holds. So when we're doing exercise sessions, we would try to do things where they do have to hold their breath for an extended period of time. Some other sessions that we can do include plays and relate sessions. So one of the first things as a trainer that we have to do is build a relationship with each and every animal. Before we ever train a behavior, before we ever do a show with them, we will just get to know them, right? Imagine you're meeting someone for the first time and you're building your relationship with them. The only way that you can do that is by spending time with them, hanging out with them, getting to know what they like, what they don't like. You guys kind of start having inside jokes and really just start developing your relationship. It's the same with us and these whales. We have to spend time with them, and I kind of talked a little bit about how each whale enjoys different things. It is our job to learn those things. And so one of the sessions can just be a relate, where we're just spending time with them, hanging out with them, and learning them on a more personal level. Now we can also do play sessions. Killer whales have a variety of different things that they can play with here, and they do have what we call environmental enrichment devices, which is long for what we say EEDs, and that's just another way of saying a toy. They do have a lot of different toys. It's kind of hard to see, but if you look to the back of the pool, you'll see a bin, and you can kind of see some white stuff over there. Those are all of their toys. You'll see some barrels, you might see some buoys. There's a lot of different things that we can throw in these pools for the whales. We also make toys for them, so we're constantly trying to be creative and come up with different things that they might enjoy in their environment. So a play can be us delivering an EED to them, or it can be us interacting with them. So I kind of talked about some games. Every trainer kind of has things that they like to do with these whales, but a common one is a jello toss. So killer whales, they can have sugar-free, flavorless jello, and so we will make jello molds, and we can play games like catch with them. Tuar is the best jello tosser. Let me tell you, he can throw a jello super far. Maybe we'll see it today, I'm not sure, but that is just one game that we can play with these whales. So if you direct your attention to the center of the pool, this is Tuar. Kayukit's going to be demonstrating a center breach. So this session here could be classified as an exercise. Doing more of those high energy behaviors, getting some more movement. We'll see what it kind of develops into. You'll see that Kylan did toss a ice cube in the center of the pool. That was just to ask give him specific direction as to where she wanted him to emit that behavior. Now you'll notice that he didn't do the behavior, which was going to be a jump in the middle of the pool. Now a lot of people ask, well, what do you do when they're wrong? Here at SeaWorld, we have what is called the least reinforcing scenario. We'll come back to that because here is Kayukit.
Wait, Mama, that's the one.
So that is Jello right there. Now, those pectoral flippers that Laura is currently touching, if you were to put that under an X-ray, you would actually see 5 digits like our hand. Pretty cool. Now, those pectoral flippers are used for steering and stopping, whereas their peduncle and tail flukes is the powerhouse or the motorboat, and it's used in an up and down motion to propel themselves through the water. We were talking about Jello earlier. Kayukit's hanging on to his. So the loose reinforcing scenario, you might hear trainers say the LRS. When a killer whale or any animal here at SeaWorld performs an incorrect behavior, we provide a 3-second stimulus. And that is just us standing there, looking them in the eyes calmly, and counting to 3 in our heads. Now once we deliver that, if they remain calm throughout those 3 seconds, they can be reinforced for that. Now what this does is it teaches them that failure is okay. And even if they fail, they still have opportunity for reinforcement, and we can still move on with the session. One way that we build our relationships with these whales is by, like I said, those relate sessions. And this is kind of what Laura is doing here with Kayuket. She's rubbing him down. Killer whales do have sensitive skin. They also exfoliate multiple times or shed throughout the day. So rubbing them down is just one way that we can hang out with them and start building that relationship or maintain that relationship. A lot of people ask, well, what does a killer whale feel like? Now, sometimes that's kind of hard to describe, but they do feel very similar to a dolphin. However, they're a lot more firm. When I had people tell me what they thought dolphins feel like, a common one is a peeled hard-boiled egg, and I would say that's pretty accurate. Just imagine that peeled hard-boiled egg to be very firm, very dense, and that's what these guys feel like. You'll notice if you're standing there right by Kayuket, his eye is right in front of that big white eye patch. Sometimes it's hard to see. It is very little in comparison to his body, but killer whales do have blue eyes. They are very beautiful, and they do move independently from one another. Kayuket took a huge breath there. Now, killer whales, they do breathe out of that blowhole there. They also make all of their vocalizations from that blowhole by manipulating that muscle. It would appear that sometimes there's noises coming out of their mouth, but they don't have any vocal cords. So that's one difference out of the many between ourselves and killer whales. But yeah, when he is making all those different sounds, they come right out of that blowhole. So right now, Kylan and Tuar are doing what's called an innovate. Now that is a behavior that gives the whales a lot of freedom to kind of choose. And it stimulates their brain and gets them thinking, because the whole point is they have to come up with a behavior on their own. And the only rule is they cannot do the same one multiple times in a row. So they just every time need to do something different. This helps them be creative and to kind of choose the path of their session. Now sometimes we can give them direction, like we can say, go and do something in the center of the pool, or do something right in front of me. But it actually is one way that we can capture new behaviors, because sometimes the whales do something or make a sound that we've never seen or heard before. And so that's when we throw a really big party for them and try to encourage them to do it again so that we can actually capture that behavior. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to pass the microphone over to Brooke. We are not finished yet, so don't get too excited and head on out. We still have some more fun things for you, and we still have a lot of trainers out here asking questions, but this is where I leave you, and I will give the microphone over to Brooke. Thanks, guys.
Participated in a variety of different research studies. One of the highlighted research studies that they have been a part of is what is called a hearing study. So much like if you and I were to go to the doctor, you've all had that hearing test where you hear a tone in your ear and you press the button. We taught our killer whales actually to go under the surface of the water, and we were able to play a tone at a different frequency. Now, if they heard that tone, they were actually taught to emit bubbles, so they would blow bubbles if they heard that tone. And so that's actually pretty cool that now we can hear, we know really their frequency of what they can hear at. Our voices are at the bottom of their frequency level, and they can hear at much higher frequencies than we can. So they can even produce sounds that we cannot hear. You cannot hear for the human ear, but they can hear between each other. You'll hear some of those vocalizations right now. So all of those vocalizations are actually coming out of the blowhole right on top of their heads. So they're able to manipulate that blowhole much